Let's throw some jabs.
The fight starts now!
All right, Sergio, Montana Love is back on Saturday, headlining the DAZN show in Cleveland against Steve Spark. Love is 2-0 since signing with Matchroom last year, but his recent fights have been a little bit shaky. He came in at 144 pounds for his win over Carlos Diaz and was knocked down in the second round of a decision win over Gabriel Valenzuela. Sergio, Matchroom had high hopes for Love after he signed following a knockout win over Ivan Baranchyk. Right now, is Love a contender or a pretender?
Definitely not a pretender. Montana Love has all the skills to be the next star, and he has the charisma, the flair, and he has the power and excitement. I mean, everyone was talking about him after that Baranchyk knockout. Now, just with 2 lackluster performances, you don't forget about him. It's just, you got to get the W first and look good later. But the kid looks good when he looks good. So I think Montana Love is a fringe contender, top 15, top 16. But not a top 10 yet. But I give him a lot of credit for the opponents that he's been facing recently. I mean, yeah, he hasn't looked good because he's stepping up the competition. His last 4 opponents, a combined record of 88 wins, 5 losses. That's damn good for an up-and-comer. So I think if he has one more good win under his belt, it doesn't even have to be a knockout. But a top fighter, I think he cracks the top 10.
I don't know if I agree that he's stepping up in competition necessarily. The last 2 fights, Diaz and Valenzuela, they were fine veteran journeyman type of fighters, but they weren't on the elite level at 140 pounds. And look, I was disappointed that Montana Love came in 4 pounds heavy against Diaz. I was shocked when he went down in the second round against Valenzuela. So for right now, I'm going to put him in the pretender category. He's got a chance to jump out of that category, and he can do it in one fight. This fight against Steve Spark is not known in the U.S. He doesn't have any kind of following, but he can crack, and he can make this an exciting fight. 15 wins, 14 of those wins have come by knockout. So this is going to be, or has the potential to be, a rock'em sock'em robot type of fight that Montana Love, just like against Baranchyk, could look really good in. So he has got a chance here to push himself back into the world title mix, and there are plenty of world titles out there now that Josh Taylor's vacated 3 of them. But right now, Sergio, after what I've seen over the last 2 fights, I think he's lost a lot of the momentum that he had after the win over Ivan Baranchyk. He has not looked like a top guy at 140 pounds, and he's going to need a big performance, I think, to be considered a contender once again.
And he'll get it, because that's just what it is with guys with talent. They take it for granted, especially when they're young, and they have so much flair, so much ability, like Montana Love. So I just think the last 2 fights, they were veterans, and like I said, they were good fighters. I mean, not top fighters, but they had good records, Mannix. So meaning they weren't losers. They were used to winning. I mean, 88 wins, 5 losses. That's a really good percentage of wins against losses in your last 4 opponents. So I'm giving Montana Love credit, and he does it with pizzazz. So the eyes are on him. And the thing about boxing is people have short-term memories. One big performance, he sparks out Spark in the next fight, he's back. Him and Papi, his little French bulldog, all eyes are on them again. So that's the thing about boxing. You're 1 knockout away to being back on top. Montana Love has a chance to do that coming up.
Yeah, but didn't you expect more from Montana Love? Maybe it was the fact that he went up against an Ivan Baranchyk who just goes out there winging punches and is kind of perfect to get countered in the way that Montana Love countered and knocked him out. I just had higher expectations. Montana Love was a guy who was a sought-after commodity after that Baranchyk win. You had PBC going after him. You had Eddie Hearn going after him. He eventually signed with Matchroom, and there was a lot of thought that in a couple of years he'd be able to get himself a world title fight. He might still, because those belts are fragmented, but I just expected a little bit more. I'm not disparaging the level of competition. I just expected Montana Love to maybe be a little more professional and come in on weight for the Diaz fight, and to look a little bit more dominant against Valenzuela, not get knocked down in the second round of that fight. I'm not saying he's done. He's certainly got a chance, like you said, with 1 win to put himself back into that upper tier of 140 pounders. But right now, I just don't see it in Montana Love.
Your expectations don't mean nothing to me or these fighters that are chasing greatness. Montana Love, I think he has all the potential
Chasing
to be
greatness?
a great...
Can we stop? Hold on. Chasing great. Let's Steve Spark is not chasing greatness. All right, let's
At this
Dimitri
level,
Bivol
at this
is chasing greatness. No, stop.
At
Stop.
this-
You're
okay.
all over the place with this. You're all
No,
over.
I'm not all over the place. Let me finish my point of view here. So chasing greatness. You said the exact same thing about Devin Haney when we were calling his earlier fights, that he's not stepping it a little, stepping the gas a little more, looking for the knockouts. Dominating is not enough. He has to have that extra oomph. He's undisputed now. Devin Haney did that. So Montana Love, give him a chance to really find his way, find his rhythm, find the knockout ways, and you gotta understand that he's fighting fighters that aren't accustomed to getting knocked out with good records, guys that are winners. You're just not gonna be knocking out fighters that are used to winning. So I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt, Mannix. I know what fighters are like, and when it comes to a guy like Montana Love, one performance can put him in the right trajectory to get those consistent knockouts and the victories that you want him to get.
Now there we agree. Like, one performance can absolutely push him back into that mix. I'm just waiting for it. I didn't see it over the last couple of fights. And I think Steve Sparks going to be a very interesting test for Montana Love. Like I said, not a well-known guy. His only loss came against Tim Tszyu, and Tim Tszyu is now one of the top 154 pounders in all of boxing. So I think he's coming in here a little bit underrated, and he can punch. He has shown some pop in his career. So if Montana Love is not careful, something bad could happen in this fight. But it's also the kind of fight where I think he can look really good in.